So next, I'd like to bring up Praveen Venugopal. He's going to be doing a presentation in regards to data automation and smart integrations, the future of B2B commerce. So Praveen, he's a solution consultant with DCKAP, working closely with B2B customers. He comes with a solid e-commerce background and has spent over 7 years of his career with Amazon and is a PMP certified professional. So yeah, I'd like to bring up Praveen to the stage. Welcome, Praveen.
Sure. Thank you for having me here, Tim. And I guess the screen is already shared. Hello, everyone. Thanks a lot for joining the session today. And hope you're able to see my screen and my video. And today we're going to be talking about data automation and smart integrations. And we'll be talking more from a B2B perspective. And with respect to today's agenda, so initially I'll be talking about the current trends in the B2B ecosystem. And then eventually I'll jump on how data automation and smart integrations can be applied in the B2B ecosystem. And then eventually I'll give you a sneak peek into Chorus, which is our B2B automation solution. So I would like to start off with a quote, which says that the reason it seems that price is all your customers care about is that you haven't given them anything else to care about. And this is a famous quote from Seth Godin. He's a very influential figure, as you might know him. And this comes in as a very powerful statement for me, right? Because in today's B2B world, it is all about pricing on how you differentiate yourself from your competition. But then if pricing is not going to be the key differentiator, so what is it that is going to be the key differentiator? So that is what I'll be walking you through as part of my session today. And Tim gave a brief insights in terms of what I do. And I've been with DCKAP for around 4 years, and I'm Praveen, and I work as a solution consultant. And I specifically work with B2B and B2C customers, but then with a specialization on the B2B side of things. And I have these conversations with customers on a day-to-day basis and provide solutions based on their needs. And with respect to the session today as well, it is based on some of the feedback I've got from the team and based on market research that I've performed. So now let's jump onto the actual topic, which is on the shifting B2B landscape. So I'll be emphasizing a little more in terms of what are the current trends and the evolving trends on the B2B space. And then I'll also talk a bit on the automations and integration part of it, and then jump onto Chorus. So things are changing in today's world, but then I'm not really getting on to the current world in terms of the new normal that we are living in, but then I'm just taking things into perspective, even without this into perspective on how important and what trends are happening in the B2B space and how customers are leveraging some technologies in this space. So the first one is on the B2B personalization. So this is one of the key aspects that you might be encountering every now and then. So you definitely have a lot of customers and you want to keep giving them that personalized experience. So this is where the account-based marketing also comes into picture. So, and again, this is where you could start off with a few elite or a top-notch customers that you might have to start with, and then eventually move down to some of your other customers. So this is going to be critical. And this is something which a lot of customers are already leveraging. And nothing like good old content marketing and storytelling, right? So with respect to content marketing, so it doesn't need much of an introduction. So there is a lot that is happening in terms of content, but the thing is that it's evolved more in terms of videos and all of that, rather than just text-based content earlier. And then that's something you can leverage on. And then storytelling is what would definitely help you to build a brand around it. So content is one part, but then story help you to build a brand around that. And the next one on the user-generated content, it could be multiple things. And there is huge adoption in the B2C ecosystem. And there is also adoption which we are seeing as of today in the B2B space as well. So this could be multiple things, right? So this could be even user reviews. So that can feed back in. Or it could be even some of the posts that they're doing in some of the trade shows that they're trying to participate, and then have photos of them. So try to market around those lines. So those are some trends that is catching up. And influencer marketing is always a big thing. And unlike the B2C ecosystem, where it is more in terms of having the celebrities and all of that, in the B2B ecosystem, it is more to do with the actual users of your services, and then word of mouth is what happens at this particular level, and nothing like word of mouth in business, as you might be aware of. So this is something you could definitely capitalize on. And the next one is LinkedIn. So I'm not talking about all of the social media channels, because on the B2B ecosystem, we feel that LinkedIn has a lot more traction than some of the other channels. And it also gives you the professional feel, and it makes you more reliable and more trustworthy. So that's where LinkedIn comes into perspective. And it is not just about marketing on LinkedIn, right? It could be also your internal users or your employees who are trying to leverage LinkedIn as a platform and post on how they feel and about the products and how they feel about the company. So these are engagements that you can have here. And then with respect to omnichannel, multi-channel, so that is what we'll be talking to the next few slides, but then that is one of the key aspects that you should be looking at. And multi-channel, omni-channel are different in the way that multi-channel could be one channel at a time. Omni-channel is having that integrated experience across. Both of that applies based on what business needs that you might have. And then again, supply chain and logistic management is also a subset of omni-channel presence, I would say. But then I just wanted to bring it in here because that's very, very critical. And that's going to be one of the key differentiator, right? Based on which customers are going to specifically choose you. So because with respect to customers, they are looking at deliveries, looking at what transport that they're using and how fast they're getting things delivered and at what cost. So these are things that you can definitely be looking at. And obviously the e-commerce part of it. So in today's world, so that's even more critical, where you're able to interact with them in the digital channels and make these purchases. It need not be just a purchase that they're making online, right? It could be even some of the offline purchases, but then they could still maybe pay that online, or they could also see on what orders they have placed offline. So these are some use cases, right? But then that's a lot more that you can leverage on the e-commerce side of things. So that's pretty much on the current trends. And the next one is on the evolving trends. So, and again, this is from a famous cartoon, which is Richie Rich from ABC Corp. And this was one of the cartoon series which fascinated me. And in terms of technology on how things are evolving, I was really fascinated. But then I somehow feel adoption in real world has taken a backseat. So, but then it is evolving at this point in time. And there's a lot of interest shown in this particular space. So the first one is on data visualization, even though there is adoption on the data visualization part of it, but then it has not been tapped into its full potential. So that's what I would say, because there are avenues where you can programmatically see on who are the customers, and then based on algorithms, you could target them. So that's still not happening, but then there is definitely scope on that. So that is what you'll be seeing in the next few years. And artificial intelligence and Internet of Things. So this is huge, right? And with respect to artificial intelligence, already there is adoption in the B2B ecosystem, but then it is bound to only increase over a period of time. And again, there are a lot of solutions which is coming around these lines. So that's something you can definitely leverage. And the other one is on the Internet of Things. With respect to Internet of Things, so specifically on the manufacturing and distribution side, there is a lot of interest specifically on the robotic side of things, and that would specifically apply when you're trying to source inventory, and that could be placing them on the racks and all of that. So there's a lot of interest around those lines as well. And then the visual search. So even in today's world, a lot of customers are searching for some products, but then they really do not know the SKUs or product IDs and all of that. So sometimes they take pictures and send it across. So right now, how this has been handled is maybe they have diagrams, and then they could just click on that diagram and then place for an order for that particular part on the B2B space. But then that's also going to go into the visual mode. And the next one is on voice commerce. This is a very interesting field, and actually even at DCKAP, so we are running a few experiments around this, and this is catching up really in a huge fashion. And specifically, there's a stat which also says that over 40% of Americans, even as of today, leverage voice as part of their day-to-day transactions, which is a huge number, and it is only bound to increase. And with a lot of these devices coming up in terms of the echo dots and all of that, so it is only bound to increase. And then there is this unique concept called geofencing. So it is making yourself local to the customer. There are definitely going to be customers who want to place or who want to be associated in an ecosystem where they have everything within the location they are in. So targeting yourself to be as part of the ecosystem in the individual geography. So that's going to be critical. So that's where the geofencing part of it comes into play. And yeah, in today's world, so this is inevitable. So with respect to the video conferencing and all of that. So there has been already interest in terms of the visual walkthrough, in terms of the showrooms and all of that, in terms of what inventory is available and all of that. In today's world, it is even more critical. And we also have scenarios where there is integration even on an e-commerce site where they are able to block a time from your sales rep, and they are able to look at on what inventory is available, and then they get to purchase rather than having the real interactions in some cases. And the other one, which is going to be booming, is the VR and AR. With respect to augmented reality, it has a lot of use cases, and even with respect to security precautions. So there's a lot which is happening here, which means that with respect to AR, you can specifically go or navigate within your systems and find on what issues are there in case if in terms of machinery, if something is failing and all of that. And then that could be a triggers which could be sent across. And then the similar part number could also be ordered. So there is definitely a lot of evolution around this particular space as well. So these are some of the evolving trends in the B2B space. And so moving on from that, I just wanted to talk about data automation and smart integrations. So specifically on the B2B space, there's a lot of interest here because whatever we had seen so far, so they function well and they are really critical as individual pieces, but then they also need to integrate together to give an omni-channel presence. And in a lot of cases, give a consistent experience for your customers. The customers could be your external customers or your customers who are internal to you, which could be your employees as such. So with respect to having this experience, workflow automation is one of the key aspects. So as you could be thinking of it, right? That could be multiple use cases. You could think of a customer who's trying to purchase online, and then he might want to pick it up from the store. And then likewise, somebody is walking into the store and purchasing stuff, and the promotions need to apply to the online channel. And there are multiple use cases, right? Based on how they want to leverage the channel. And then they also need to have the consistent experience, and they need to be seeing the same data. And if it is going to be inconsistent, then definitely these customers are going to leave you over a period of time. And we'll also see on how important that is in the next few slides as well. And again, these are some external experience, and even internally, you could have your inventory coming in. You could be scanning barcodes, and that gets into ERP, and then that could get automated into your shelves, and then that could be on your multiple channels. So it's a huge opportunity that you can definitely capitalize on. So this is a good example on what happens if systems work in silos, right? So again, it has to be integrated. If things could be working well in separately, but then they need to work in parallel as well. And let's look at on why integration is critical for distributors. So these are a few reasons, right? So the first very important reason would be to have the single source of truth for all of your data. And that's what takes care of everything else, if you really think about it. Because having a single source of data always helps, because with respect to your orders, it could be your ERP. With respect to your product data, it could be a PIM. So having one single source of truth is very important, so that you can leverage it to the multiple other channels. So it is So from the end user's perspective, they're getting a consistent experience. And sometimes there are also scenarios where because there is no inventory, you're not able to fulfill the orders, and that gives them a bad experience, and that also drives disloyalty. And eventually, yeah, you would want to automate your business processes, and eventually that saves time for your employees. And most importantly, they can see real-time data. So as I mentioned, inventory could be a great example. So where you would want to showcase the real-time data to your customers. And as you keep doing this, you also build workflow management for them, which means that for certain set of your customers, they would have their own workflows, which means that they could have a purchasing manager, purchasing assistants, and all of them. And having that structure inbuilt, so will also drive loyalty within the organization. So that's something you can definitely tap on. And having a transparent process, so for your customers, right? So if you're able to clearly tell them on what they have done offline, what they have done in this particular channel, and how many points they have across channels. And as they are also able to tap into the IoT systems, right? So that gives a world of opportunities. So that's something you can definitely capitalize on. And the other one is, so obviously the obvious reasons are, and this also helps with the enhanced customer satisfaction and improves your sales down the line. And as we are looking at integration solutions, there are a bunch of solutions which is available. I'm not going to be going into the details of each of these solutions, but then I just wanted to bucketize solutions into two buckets. Actually, one of it being a custom solution, and the other one being cloud-based solutions, integration solutions. And as you could look at this, right? So it is a no-brainer in some ways. As you could see, with respect to self-management, yeah, a cloud-based solution is much easier. Total cost of ownership or a period of time, it definitely helps you to save a lot of cost, because that's not going to be maintenance every now and then, and you get completely covered. And it's also a scalable solution, right? So that could be a couple of systems you're integrating down the line. As we are talking about a lot of these systems, even as part of the future, so it has to be scalable for us to accommodate all of them. So that's one other key aspect. And then the security and the reliability aspects of it. So with the custom solution, it is going to be just catered to what we are looking at. And some of the other aspects is not really looked at with a cloud-based solution. So all of the underlying security and all of that is established. And with respect to reliability, even if there are failures, there are retry mechanisms and all of that which is happening. And you also have documentation and support, and you can self-manage a lot of these solutions. So these are some of the major differentiators on why you would be going to a integrate or a cloud-based integration solution. And then one other major use cases, so you might be doing integration today, and tomorrow down the line, if there needs to be some changes, in some cases, we have got this request, right? Some cases we are able to look at it. In some cases, if it is really buggy, so again, you need to kind of start things from the scratch, which also increases your cost. But then I definitely understand from a merchant's point of view, right? In some cases, they look at custom solutions because it looks like a one-time cost, at least when we look at it. But then what we really need to think is it might not be a one-time cost. There is going to be definitely upgrades which might happen for your systems. At that point in time, you need support. And even there could be errors which is happening, and your business logic could change over a period of time. In a lot of with a lot of our customers, we have also seen that changing every few months as well. So that's something you need to have into perspective. And basically, the end goal, as we see over here, is bringing down the customer effort, and it is also your internal customers' effort to a certain extent, as you think about it. And that's the end goal of having all of that in place. And why is that even very critical, right? So that's what I was even initially talking about in terms of the code. Again, so if it is not going to be pricing, which is going to be a differentiator, what else is going to be? So this will give you some insights there. So this is a basic customer journey, nothing fancy about it. So here, you might be aware of it for most part. So that's going to be an initial trigger for them to consider a distributor or a manufacturer in some cases. And then there is an initial brand consideration. And as part of the brand, your digital channels in today's world serves as a huge aspect. And the other one is on the active evaluation. Even at this point of time, the digital channels serve as a huge factor. And one other thing which stands out here is the influencer marketing, which we spoke some time back. So that's also a key factor that they look into. They look at what your customers are doing and how easy or user-friendly your systems are, and then they make a purchase decision. And then if the experience is great, and by experience, I would say a low effort experience, and then that drives the loyalty. And on the contrary, if it is not great, then it drives disloyalty, and then they move out of the market. So this is an ideal customer journey. And you would ideally want to be in a cyclic phase where you're just driving loyalty and making this. So once you keep investing on making these low effort experiences, so that will definitely give you results over a period of time, and also instantaneous results for some of the activities that you're trying to do. And it has a huge role, and you'll see on why I say that. So as you could see over here, the impact of it is huge. So if you're just transitioning from a high to a low effort experience, it brings down your overall cost by 37%, which is a huge number. And these are from Gartner's report. And then with respect to a low effort experience, so it increases the customer spend by 88%. So your customers are willing to pay more if you're able to give them the low effort experiences that they deserve. So again, this also boils down to what I was initially saying. So this is what you need to be concentrating on. So giving the low effort experiences to your customers, and that will eventually help you help drive revenue for you. And then on the contrary, what happens with the high effort experience? So with the high effort experience, drive disloyalty by 96%. These are huge numbers as you could think about it. So we could be thinking these are small things that we are looking at, but then these are small things which will add on where your customers are making a decision. So with respect to making decisions, it is very minute in a lot of cases. So these are the experiences that you should be differentiating. And then it also increases the negative word of mouth in case of for high effort experience. And in our business, it is all about word of mouth, as you would agree with me. And yeah, and obviously creating low effort experiences is the key, and that's what you should be concentrating on. And having integrations is going to definitely help you around those lines. And it need not be just integrating information, right? It could be a lot more experiences that you could integrate. And that's what you should be definitely looking at. And how should you be choosing the right integration solution for your business? These are a few parameters you should take into account, whether it's an on-prem or a SaaS or a PaaS. On-prem is gradually dying down, and SaaS is more of a, because of the obvious reasons, right? Because it is not scalable. And SaaS-based solutions cater to all of the customers in a similar fashion, but then with respect to integration, as you might know, so it is different for each business. So we might have to handle it differently. And that could be multiple integration protocols which is supported. You need to see on what is required for you and what your future state needs are, and then choose what solution is ideal for you. And look at what self-management options are there right now and down the line as you consider solutions. And for bigger teams, role management and collaboration is also important. And reliability and scalability aspects is something you should be looking at. So we spoke about this earlier as well. And then eventually having the operational efficiency, right? And which drives the return on investment. So that's one of the key drivers, right? So whatever you're investing, you need to be seeing the return on investment. So see on what you can save and how you can automate the overall process. So you don't want your team members to be working on redundant tasks. So you would want them to concentrate on your customers. So that's where they should be working on. And eventually the total cost of ownership, you should be seeing on what the upfront costs are versus the ongoing costs are. So that is also very critical as you choose. So now I'd like to give you a sneak peek into our solution, which is Chloris, which helps make B2B integrations seamless. So Chloris is Cloud Rapid Automation System. It's a PaaS-based solution, and we are platform agnostic. And you can delegate all of your problems to Chloris, and we should be able to take care of things for you. And with Chloris, you can have multiple systems integrated within the same instance. So that's one huge value add that you get. And this is one other use case, right? We have a very intuitive drag and drop interface. It's very easy and user-friendly, as you could see here. And then with respect to modifiers, you could have all of your integration logic incorporated. And so basically all of the business logic can be applied by yourself to a great degree. And you can self-manage some of these, even if some business logic is changing down the line. And you can also test it out from here. And then we also have a developer interface, which pretty much helps to for developers to code in. So that's on it. And these are some of the other highlights of Closers. I just want to give you a quick intro on this. So it helps with seamless integrations, and we are GDPR compliant, and we help with all cloud-based solutions or on-prem based solutions, which we can definitely integrate and plug and play is one great value add. And you can do integrations in real time versus you could also do it in an automated fashion based on schedules. And then you could also, you also get to have a user-friendly dashboard in terms of managing your integrations. But then in most cases, you might not be even leveraging it. But then as your business needs change, you get in here. And you have a one-click enable. And we have a multi-tenant architecture as well over here. So, and that's pretty much what I had as part of my session today. And thanks a lot for your time today. So yeah, so in case you have any further questions, please reach out to me at praveenv@dckap.com.
Thank you so much, Praveen. It's a great content in terms of just ERP integration. So I know a lot of the worldwide users group from the P21, the Epicor Profit 21 group is here. And you know, we are a leader in that space where we have lots of solutions in terms of just integrating e-commerce platforms with ERP. So if you have any questions, do reach out to Praveen. And then yes, thank you guys for just continue to build up the Q&A tabs. You know, lots of great questions, especially from Aaron Meyer's talk. And you know, we'll be sure to try to get those all those answered if possible. If not, we'll send them out to you via email as well. So